Aloha, folks. Welcome back to Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. Oh, thank you. My voice is destroyed from playing 2 sets of music the last couple days, and then a lot of drinking, a lot of late nights on the beach, and in that, did you go to that party, the dance party with the headphones? It was like a silent dance party. It's weird. But today on the show, live from the Hukilau here in Pompano Beach, Florida, we're gonna make a, did I get that right, Pompano Beach? You laughed at, no? Pompano Beach, Florida. Yeah, thanks. We're gonna make a cocktail from a vintage recipe book here from 1969, which is super scary because we all know that the cocktail de-evolution started kind of in the late 60s. We're gonna be making a cocktail from the Demon Rum section. I know, foreboding, huh? A cocktail called the Barracuda Bite. And I'm very sorry for what I'm gonna do to you this morning because it doesn't look good. Like, it really doesn't look good. But we're gonna all do this together, except for the kids, sorry. It says for the Barracuda Bite here, to be mixed only if you're in a big hurry. And then only behind locked doors. What is this drink? Even though you can still stand, never drink more than 2 at one sitting. So I'm warning all of you. Okay, all y'all, I guess. I'm warning all y'all. What is that, like a Florida thing? Oh, okay. To only have one of these, because who knows what's gonna happen. You're gonna end up naked in the pool, you might end up on a roof or something. And for this cocktail, we will be using limes, 151 rum, vodka, and grenadine. I don't need to cut a lime, we got lime juice here. Okay, so we're gonna start with a 1/2 ounce of lime juice. I'd say mix along, but you don't have these things, so, okay. 1.5 ounces of vodka. It's vodka. 1.5 ounces of 151. That's a lot of 151.
Where are the corks?
There's no corks in these bottles. Okay, and 1 ounce of grenadine. It seems like a lot of grenadine, right? So it's gonna be kind of a grenadine-y, vodka-y, lime 151 drink. I mean, that's literally what it is, I guess. Okay, how much? Oh, 1 ounce, okay. You know what's wild is watching all these like real professional bartenders give these eloquent talks all weekend, and I was like sitting there going, oh my God, how am I gonna do what, especially like, where'd Garret, oh, Garrett's over there. Watching his presentation was like watching like a collegiate lecture. And I was like, what am I gonna do? But I guess you guys are here for like a reason, right? You watch the show? Thank you. Did you see the Hula Girls last night? Thank you. Okay, so that's the cocktail right there. We're gonna throw some ice into a tin here. And now I have professional bartenders watching me shake. This is very nerve-wracking. Is that okay? Like so often I think to myself, I go, dude, I just started making the cocktail show and like during the pandemic because the Hula Girls couldn't play anymore. We were all locked in home. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just start exploring these cocktails, you know, and then post them to YouTube or whatever. This is bizarre to me that we're doing this live, like in front of real people, you know? I'm not a professional cocksmith. Okay, so does everybody have the drink? You didn't taste it yet, right? Okay, wait, we're waiting for a couple. So as we know, you normally want to serve and drink the cocktail as soon as you're done mixing it. Especially, it's already kind of hot and balmy out here, so this cocktail's already dying in this drink. Does somebody want to get the other half of this drink? Right here? All right, come on down here, doctor. He told me he was a doctor earlier. This wasn't planned or anything. What was your name again?
Ashton.
Ashton, come here, Ashton. You said you were a doctor, right?
I'm a doctor, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Congratulations on being a doctor.
Oh, thank you.
Here's the drink. Okay, wait, are we still waiting? Oh.
Yes, we can cheers anyway.
Now this is awkward. It's like I'm not gonna interview a doctor on my show. I guess we could. Doctor or what?
Physical therapy.
Oh, physical therapy.
Yeah. So like kind of a doctor, but not really.
I have a doctor in my band.
Do you really?
In the Hula Girls. Did you guys know that? I have a doctor in my band. Yeah, dude. Miss Audrey Lorraine, one of our go-go dancers, is a I said that weird. Chiropractor. A chiropractor.
That's awesome.
So that's also kind of like, it's a doctor, but it's not like a
Like a doctor adjacent.
doctor adjacent.
Yeah, that's how we are.
Okay, good. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Cheers, everybody. Happy Hukilau. I hope you had a great time. I hope we'll see you again next year.
Cheers.
Cheers, Doc.
Cheers, Spike.
Whoa!
Okay.
That's a tangy son of a bitch, isn't it?
It is. It is.
You like it?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, thank you for coming up here.
Thank you very much, Spike. Thank
Totally.
You. Thank you.
Yeah. The doctor. What do you guys think about this? The 151 really sets it off, huh? Okay, well, I guess that's the end of the first segment. And then we're gonna do the big segment at the end with Hurricane Hayward. We're gonna talk about the rum barrel, the barrel-o rum. We're gonna have a mix-off, and then Garret is gonna judge the rum-barrel-off. Okay, thanks so much, guys. Aloha. There's an applause sign right now. Sometimes I read these recipes and I make them, and then I go, oh, I didn't read the whole thing. I know. And at the very end, it's like, also don't do this until the very, very end. And I'm like, all right, well, I already did that. I should have warned all of you who just drank that drink. It says at the very end of this, mix lightly in a shaker, pour into a tall glass, so we ruined that part. We all have short glasses. Drink, and they spell it out, Slowly. So now we're all in trouble. No matter how thirsty you are, drink slowly. So, good luck with today. But I'm super excited right now to introduce to you, do you guys know who Hurricane Hayward is? Jeez, you're like a rock star. Ladies and gentlemen, Hurricane Hayward.
Hey. Aloha, Hukilau.
Hurricane Hayward, I've known for a long time, mostly because of the work that he's done in covering events, especially there at the Maikai, but also he's been so instrumental in reverse engineering like all of the Maikai drinks. Things like the Black Magic, things like yeah, dude, Black Magic's super good. What's the other one?
Other one, there's 50 some other ones.
What's the other coffee one?
Oh, I've done a lot of tributes. The Mutiny's the other coffee drink. That's great.
The Mutiny.
You've
right.
made them both on your show.
I have made them both. And I made them recently with our go-go dancers. Did you see them? Yeah. What are we gonna do today?
We're gonna make a rum barrel, and just let me say, it's a pleasure and an honor to finally be live with Spike's Breezeway.
Oh.
And have Spike live at the Hukilau.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
This is my 15th Hukilau, and Sundays are kind of special. We used to go to the Maikai every Sunday, and the Maikai party would start mainly at noon, and we'd go till 5, just the Hukilau people exclusively at the Maikai. It's incredible. We'll do it again next year, right?
Yeah. So today we're going to be doing a rum barrel challenge.
Right.
Do we want to bring on our other guest?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Garret Richard of Tropical Standard.
Great to be here on the Breezeway.
Thank you so much.
This is the book. Please get it.
I wanted to give Garret just a shout out for that incredible book. I've just got it. I'm just going into it. And of course, he's got a rum barrel in there. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get his feedback on his rum barrel versus, this is a traditional. It's not the exact Maikai rum barrel. You've made it on your show, right?
Right.
And I've made one slight adjustment that I just posted on the blog. If you go to atomicgrog.com, you'll see the latest and greatest recipe that we're going to make tonight. But what I wanted to show you guys here in this demo is some of the specific juices that I use, the specific rums that I use. You can only get in Florida, but that's what gives the Maikai its flavor, the juices and the local flavors that Mariano Liquidini, who created the Maikai menu, the great mixologist who Garret knows a lot about, And we're going to hopefully get some of Garrett's feedback on what we're doing, and he's going to judge our barrels at the end and see who makes the better barrel.
We'll see. But that's the reason I love Hurricane Hayward so much, is because he looks at all the nuances of things like, there's like lime, of course there's like lime juice, But then he's like, yeah, but you gotta use some of this lime juice and then some key lime juice. It's like, what are you talking about? So we'll see what kind of difference that makes.
There's a specific rum that I like to use in this application. And I said, El Dorado 12 Smith & Cross. So you're going to be drinking the rum barrel that I've been making for all these years. And I think you made when you last did it too. So.
Yeah, and it is a tasty, tasty drink. It's better in a big ceramic barrel. So we got to apologize. We couldn't do, 60 ceramic barrels this time. But maybe next time.
Your tin, sir.
Okay. I was like, what? All right. Now what do we do?
So we're going to start with some juices here. Now the Mai Kai juices are unique. And I've written about this, and you'll see it when you go to the blog. And I wanted to get Garrett's feedback a little bit on the juices, because he is the master of juices and acid adjusting and the new wave of bartending that has replaced the old wave, but the Mai Kai has a unique way of doing things, so I'd like to see how it compares. We're going to start with one of 3 juices in the rum barrel is an orange juice. You can just pick up any old orange juice you want, but what the Mai Kai uses is a fresh Florida juice, and you can squeeze your own Florida oranges if you'd like. If you really want to make a Mai Kai rum barrel, use this juice. It's called Kennesaw. They make it only in South Florida. It's 100% juice. It says ingredients, orange juice.
So can you only get that in Florida?
Probably. I'm not sure the distribution beyond Florida.
So we have a lot of viewers from Australia who are always out of luck for everything.
You're out of luck.
But we also have a lot of viewers from California and, well, actually everywhere. So
only one ingredient,
sorry.
Oranges, freshly squeezed.
I can give you a little hack that we do at Sunken Harbor Club. A lot of orange juice drinks if you want them to be a little bit tangier. If you know of the fruit calamansi, which is a beautiful Filipino citrus, sort of like a sour orange, we'll cut our orange juice with calamansi.
Calamansi?
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
You live in California, it's definitely a thing.
That's the first time I've ever heard that word in my life.
Yeah, but calamansi kind of gives you that same tang, and we use it in the rum barrel. In Tropical Standard, it's in our
Calamansi?
version of the deep sea diver called the Full Fathom 5. But this Florida orange juice is very unique to the Mai Kai's flavor profile for sure.
I don't think calamansi's a thing. Oh,
So,
first thing, orange juice.
Ounce and a half of orange juice. We're making a big barrel. That's why there's a lot of juice.
Okay.
Ounce and a half. You got your tin. You do your.
Oh, I got to do it myself?
To make it fair, we'll pour our own juices, just so we don't spill like I just did.
Okay.
We're equally sloppy.
Take 2 on that.
No, we're not being judged on style.
Somebody like Garrett would be like, dude, you just lost 1/8 of an ounce in that.
Yeah.
The drink is ruined. Should I throw it out?
Well, here, watch. You can see how much you lost.
That's like the smartest, simplest thing. But it's like basically full.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God.
It's negligible.
Wait, hold on. I got to do this. I got like, dude, he was talking about acid adjusting things. Okay. So if this is off like a 1/16 of an ounce, the show is ruined.
yeah, there we go.
Thank you.
So our second juice is a little controversial, I guess. It's of course the grapefruit juice. Now grapefruit juice, you want fresh, you want in season. So what happens at the Mai Kai, some seasons it's white grapefruit, some seasons it's red. My way to judge is I buy a yeoman's grog. And if you buy the yeoman's grog, you'll see it's either a lighter color or a darker red, which means, oh, it's red grapefruit season. Or it's white grapefruit season. A lot of tiki bars will shift their drinks depending on the season, just so they can keep that fresh grapefruit. I know if you're at home, making drinks at home, white is preferred no matter what. But.
This is like the weird attention to detail.
Yeah.
He'll go, yeah, the color of the drink dictates the grapefruit that you're using. Isn't that wild though? Like the attention to detail and the dedication to knowing what kind of grapefruit's in a cocktail.
We're nerds.
So yeah, you're saying that tiki drinks are nerdy and detail oriented? I've never heard that before.
It's true.
So the Mai Kai also uses Kennesaw grapefruit, which just happens to be red grapefruit season. So I've got this unopened bottle of Kennesaw red grapefruit. It's only 100% juice, fresh squeezed. Whole Foods will have this once in a while, and the orange. So check Whole Foods in Florida. You might be able to find these. Now the other thing about these juices is they're very pulpy. If you've ever had a Mai Kai drink, you can almost see the pulp sometimes. And I know Garrett has thoughts because he likes to strain the pulp.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the bar. It depends on, how you like the texture in your drinks. It was really funny when I first started doing my pop-up Exotica at Rain's Law Room. They didn't strain their juices, and I was making a bunch of recipes that I knew worked, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Why are these all wrong? And I realized that like pulp is like a whole different X factor for drinks. And sometimes if you have like a really like complicated cocktail, the pulp can kind of step on some of the other ingredients. But if you account for it like the Mai Tai does, then it'll be delicious. But sometimes it can really change the success of a cocktail.
Okay.
And as Garret also points out in his book, and this is one thing I did not know, the giant drinks of the Mai Tai, the Mutiny, the Black Magic, the Barrel, the reason they're so huge is because of the dinner show. They're designed to last for a while. You don't.
Oh, okay.
It's not a drink you drink fast like that other one.
Yeah.
Or like a daiquiri.
They don't want to interrupt the show. They don't want to serve like in the middle of the fire thing. You're watching the fire thing. You don't want a server being like, "Hey, do you want another something?" You know.
And if you're drinking multiple barrels during the show, you probably won't remember much of the show.
How many rum barrels have you drank in a sitting?
Just 2 or 3. I mean, I like to go through the menu with different drinks. So.
Well, there was a story years ago about, well, I know that Lucky, the pain-proof man, you know Lucky?
He's going to attempt to break Ed McMahon's record when the Mai Tai reopens.
Okay, so Ed McMahon drank how many rum barrels in one sitting?
It's in Tim's book. It's definitely double digits. It's way over.
Double digits rum barrels. 2 of these will get you right on down the road. Double digits. He said that he had to crawl into the taxi cab. It was the story he told me. That's so dangerous.
Well, he passed out on his floor in his hotel room, and they found him the next day on his floor, Ed.
Okay, what's next?
Next is lime juice, and the reason it's in this unmarked jar is because this is a special lime juice that I came up with just to mimic what the Mai Tai uses. And this is not a secret. The Mai Tai uses key lime juice. There's been articles written about it, and I wanted to get Garrett's thought on this too once we get to it. Key lime juice is very, very tart. It's a lot different than Persian lime juice. I think the secret to drinks like the Derby Daiquiri, it's kind of a boring drink, but with that juice and this lime, it becomes a better drink than just using generic. So what I've done is I found a key lime juice. Again, 100% juice. There's no additives in this. It's called Terry's Key Lime Pie Juice. And they have this at some of those roadside fruit stands in Florida. It comes from an orange grove. There's a tiny bit, I wanted to show you this, Garret. There's a tiny bit of something in there.
So it says less than 1/50th of 1% of sulfur dioxide. So if you have a sulfur dioxide allergy, don't buy Terry's.
I was like, what does that mean? Do we have to challenge that with malic acid?
So instead of using this juice straight up, because it's pretty intense, it's great for key lime pies, by the way. And I love their key lime pies as well. It's, what I do is
Wait, what was that?
I was tasting the juice. There's no cups up back here.
Yes,
You
they
just
are.
pour it on your hand?
Yeah.
We have
Is that a thing?
We have cups for tasting.
All right. So
Wait, is that a thing?
This is a professional operation. Well, okay, when you're like tasting bitters or something, sometimes you'll do that.
You just pour it on your hand?
Bartenders are weird.
I'm serious when I'm asking these questions too, because I'm like, he might know some weird stuff that we don't know. And so like, yeah, so from now on, if you want to taste a fruit or something, pour it onto your hand. And then lick your hands.
So what I do is I take 2 parts of Terry's and mix it with 1 part fresh Persian lime juice, which the bar team squeezed for us today. So this is the mix, 2-to-1, key lime to Persian. I want Garret to taste this. And the brightness, it brightens it up a little bit. The fresh juice in there gives it a better...
You don't want to pour that on your hand again?
Yeah.
So
Actually, I think it made it a little saltier when I poured it on.
Probably.
So we're using an ounce of this special blend of lime juices.
So what do I do? The other side?
Yes,
Okay.
the 1 ounce side.
All right.
Now, if you can't get that Terry's key lime pie juice, it's hard to find. There is a little orange grove in Davie, Florida that has all these juices. It's right down the road. That's where I get it from. But like I said, you can check other orange juice places or those bottled juices that you see in the supermarket, key lime juice. It's from concentrate, so it's not the same. I would do 1-to-1. I would use 1 part Persian and 1 part of that key lime juice. Just getting that little bit of key lime into the barrel makes it more authentically and tasting like a Mai Tai barrel does.
Okay.
Now we have to get it sweet. So the honey mix is a big thing at the Mai Tai. They use a lot of honey in their cocktails. You taste it in a lot of them. I've asked them, and they kind of say, I said, use 1-to-1 honey, 2-to-1 honey. They don't really reveal secrets like that to me. I've heard it's a 1-to-1, but it's very intense. So I recommend a 2-to-1 honey syrup. For our demo today, And in honor of Garret, I made Garret's honey. I made Garret's 66 bricks, which is very intense. It's like a 2-to-1 or more, right?
Yeah, so honey is basically like 84% sugar, depending on where you get it from. So this number is based on that assumption, and basically we added enough water to it so that it's the same as like a cane syrup. If you've ever used petite cane syrup or demerara syrup, it's the same sweetness. Because the thing is, like, cutting water with honey, you won't get the same level of sweetness normally that you would with like a simple syrup. That's why, like, sometimes you see recipes that use honey and simple. This is a way to just cut that out and just have one syrup.
Okay.
So Maikai honey syrup and a ½ ounce. Now passion fruit, I had some homemade that I didn't want to bring because it was a little stale. The bar team and the sponsor, Real, has a very fine passion fruit syrup that is great. Garret likes passion fruit puree. Would you like to?
Like straight puree, right?
Yeah, passion fruit is almost as tart as lemon and lime juice. It's basically as like half as tart. It's nice because then you can rely on other things for sweetness. Passion fruit doesn't necessarily have to do that. But in a big drink like the rum barrel, where you definitely need some sweetness to combat all those juices, it makes sense that you guys are using syrup. So.
Are you guys enjoying this? So are we ready to go?
Yeah, we're drinking with you guys. This is what you're drinking.
Wait a minute, we didn't put any rum in.
We're not finished yet. I just want to taste their version.
Wait, what?
This is what the folks out there are drinking.
Oh, okay. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Hear it?
Now we can go back
Jim?
to the show.
Okay.
Back to the show.
That's so much easier than the drink that we did earlier. Okay, so what's the next step here?
Well, it wouldn't be a rum barrel without rum, right?
Certainly.
So, like I said, you guys are drinking this barrel that has El Dorado 12 and Smith & Cross as the dark Jamaican component.
But there was a very specific rum.
Of course, way back in the day, the Maikai and Don the Beachcomber used a rum called Dagger, which came from Ray and Nephew. It's a legendary rum. You've probably heard of it. It was a 97 proof dark Jamaican rum that Garrett's very familiar with.
You remember it back then?
No, I wasn't around, but luckily I got to go to Steven Remsburg, the famed rum collector's house, and taste some of that. I also tasted some Dagger at Sven Kirsten's house when I was younger.
Okay.
And you know what? This category, which I would call like Planter's Punch style rum, is largely abandoned by liquor companies these days, and it's not good because basically when we're working at a place like Sunken Harbor, I have to blend 3 rums together to make one rum work, and just start making it again. Any company that I will say, Worthy Park 109 is a very nice step in that direction.
I love that rum.
And what do you blend in your barrel?
I use Worthy Park 109 and Karuba and Hamilton 151. So yeah.
We're a big fan of Ed Hamilton on the show, aren't we?
And now that you mention it, someone is making that rum, the Maikai.
Oh.
The Maikai will have a rum coming in the fall called Rum Number 1, meaning it's their number one. It's actually their number one by volume. This rum is in a lot of drinks at the Maikai. That gives it the flavor that you enjoy. Rum Number 1 is coming from the folks who make Plantation, but it's being made exclusively for the Maikai. You won't be able to find it in stores, unfortunately, but the gift shop will be well stocked. And it's going to be a 100 proof pot still and column blend, which is very close to the 97 proof Dagger. It's actually higher in proof. And it's coming from the West Indies Rum Distillery in Barbados and the Long Pond Distillery in Jamaica. They're blending it in Barbados, shipping it at 100 proof to be bottled in Florida, and the Maikai will have it exclusively when they reopen. So that'll be a fabulous rum to replace Kahala Bay.
Yeah.
And this is the long-lost Kahala Bay, which has actually been lost about 5 years. So there's bottles floating around. Some people might be hoarding it.
And how many bottles do you say that you have of that?
I only have two.
Yeah. Left.
This we just cracked open
I know,
today.
I smelled it. It smells delicious.
It's sort of the descendant of Dagger rum. It's the proof on this, 87.6. So it kind of got reduced over the years. There was something called Appleton Punch that came between Dagger and Kahala Bay. Same style, same distillery, Ray and Nephew. It's still an excellent mixing rum, and it was, the go-to rum for the Maikai for many years. So we're going to use a full 2 ounces of this in the barrel. And this is really not a sipping rum, by the way. It's the Maikai rum that's coming in the fall will be. They're designing it to be both a good sipper and a mixer. The Kahala Bay comes in a plastic bottle, so It's not a high-end rum.
I get so nervous pouring anything in front of him. I'm like, is that good?
You got this. You got this.
Thank you.
No, the thing is, I mean, there's some spirits that are meant to be mixed, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, if you think
What
about
about the 17 year that they just came out with Appleton?
You know, it's really funny. I was invited to that event, but I was on the road, so I didn't get to taste it.
Really?
Yeah.
$500 bottles of Appleton. It's supposed to replicate.
Yeah, the Mai Tai rum. They did it at Rain's Law Room, which is where my pop-up used to be.
Right.
And even one of my former staff members who now works with me at Sunken Harbor, Andres, he worked at that event and he didn't even get to taste the rum.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, what? You got it. But yeah, I mean, like, think about spirits that mix really well in cocktails, like outside of rum, like Wild Turkey 101 or Rittenhouse. You wouldn't necessarily want that on the rocks. But like this, it has a lot of flavor. It has a lot of burnt coffee notes, which makes sense in things like the Black Magic and the Mutiny. And it gives a lot of like nice bitterness and texture to the rum barrel, which is really cool. So and now I get to have some.
Wait, I want to taste some. Okay, so this morning I was out here and I'm like, man, we had a late night. My drummer and I kind of hanging out on the balcony there, and I was like, we're drinking, some beers after having a million cocktails, and I woke up this morning at 9 because I had to, set up for this, and I was like, oh, I don't really feel that good, So I went over to the bar and I got like a what's it called? Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Thank you. I got a Bloody Mary, and I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better. And then I saw Daniela.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Is Exotica?
Exotico.
Exotica. Yeah.
DDP.
Yes. And he's like, my friend, have a couple of these. And I was like, all right, I'll have a couple of those. And then we made that horrifying vodka 151 drink. So this is quickly going out of control for me. But also, I'd like to taste the Kahala
Yeah,
Vapors.
I'm gonna have to 86 in later.
From the airplane.
I remember when I discovered this rum in the back bar and kind of put it out on my blog for everybody to see. People got curious about Kahala Bay, and Martin Cate paid us a visit at the Molokai. And I remember sitting there with Martin, and Martin tasting Kahala Bay for the first time. He made that face,
Yeah.
but then he put it in his book. So he appreciates the quality of the rum for mixing.
Well, there's a place for things.
Yeah.
Like, especially like Campari. Like, if you guys watch the show, Campari is terrifying to me. But also, I love Jungle Birds. So, there you go.
So the other rum in the barrel is a white rum, or a lightly aged, I should say, Spanish-style rum. It's basically in the drink to provide some balance and some ABV on the back end. It's not meant for flavor. This is actually the Maikai's house white rum. It's called Castillo. It's made by Bacardi. So
So how much of that?
2 ounces.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think the thought with, having a like sort of lighter, cleaner rum here is to sort of lengthen out a lot of the flavors. Like, think about it, you have the really concentrated flavor of this dark Jamaican rum, honey, grapefruit. This is just to like blow it open a little bit, because otherwise it'd be very concentrated. I will say the one at Sunken Harbor Club is all dark, intense. But the Maikai, you want to hang out. People at Sunken Harbor Club, they're not spending 5 hours there. You're a monster if you spend 5 hours at Sunken Harbor Club.
Unless your name is Eric Andre.
That's true.
So we have a mutual friend, right? All of a sudden, I'm sitting in the hot tub, right? Looking out over the breezeway, and Sparky's tearing up something. I get a notification on the Hula Girls Instagram account. And I go, Eric Andre, like the comedian guy? And so I click on it, and he goes, let's drink. And I go, okay, what now? I was like, I'm in the hot tub. And he's like, yeah, whenever. And I'm like, okay. And then that's how I found out about Garret. Eric Andre is like a crazy rum cocktail guy. And he's like, Garrett's the dude, because he goes to Sunken Harbor Club, right?
Yeah, he's a super cocktail nerd.
And then you just played his birthday.
Yeah.
You just poured his birthday, I guess.
Yeah, he demanded for his 40th birthday concert to have basically a pina colada machine at all times. I also made him a Planter's Punch and a Derby Daiquiri, actually. So yeah, it was really fun.
You said that he hired a bunch of Eric Andre impersonators to
Yes.
be around.
They all had the same blue suit on, and one of them didn't show up, and he gave me the blue suit. So anytime I needed to go get ice or something, someone was like, "Oh, is that the white Eric Andre impersonator? Is that the really bad one?"
And then there was a sushi bar, like on a hot naked person sushi bar thing, except it was like a hairy dude.
Oh, I completely missed that part of it.
And then there was like an S&M room too. So if you want to go in there and get like, I hope that camera over there got her.
Back to the cocktail.
Back to the rum. I've got one more rum for Garret to taste. I neglected to use this. I was going to use this instead of Kahala Bay. I got carried away. But this is my latest substitute for Kahala Bay. If you don't want to spend the money on Smith & Cross and El Dorado, this is a mix of Ray and Nephew overproof with Appleton Signature and Karuba. So it's all Jamaican, all Ray and Nephew, and it has a more concentrated Jamaican flavor.
Yeah.
A lot more
That one's better.
floral, for sure.
Yeah, that one's easier.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Yeah.
Also, again, all of this information is on the Atomic Grog blog. Is that what you call it?
Yes.
Yes. So if you want these recipes, find them there. Also, he's done a million like deconstructed recipes of Mai Kai things. So go there to see that stuff. And pretty soon we're going to be doing the Derby Daiquiri. Somebody is actually sending me a Derby Daiquiri glass.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very excited to explore that one as well.
After rum, there's just a few more things. I know this is taking forever. The spices. Of course, you need spices to balance the sweet and the sour and the rums. I use Don spices, number 2. It's in all of Beach Bum Berry's books. We know it well. We've been studying our tiki lore. This is your pimento dram mixed with vanilla syrup. The Mai Kai may or may not use this. I like it because it's traditional. There's definitely a hint of spice in the rum barrel. And until recently, I did not have this ingredient in the recipe. When you made it months ago, it was not in the recipe. Garret includes allspice in his barrel, and I'm coming around to the conclusion that the Mai Kai does use a little bit of allspice. So a little bit of allspice goes a long way in the barrel. So that's why I mix it with the vanilla. You could use an allspice dram. I would just cut it in half. We're going to use a very small amount.
Wait, so this is a rum barrel battle, right? Like Garrett's going to judge it, but we're
Yes.
making the exact same drink.
Exact same drink.
He's already seen me spill like twice.
Well, I guess we are being judged on our technical skills here. We're only using a half a teaspoon of the Don spices. If you use straight up pimento dram, I would go with like a quarter teaspoon.
If that were you, I'd be like, you can't use my spoon.
Last but not least, the bitters. Angostura bitters, of course, the standard. The Mai Kai uses it in a lot of their drinks. Now, one little more nerdy thing I wanted to talk about is the difference in these bottles. Not many people mention it in their recipes. You see recipes that just say, use 2 dashes of bitters, use a dash of bitters. A dash of bitters out of this bottle is very different than a dash of bitters out of this bottle, correct, Garret?
Yeah, it also depends how full your bottle is. The fuller it is, the smaller the dashes are going to be. Real cheap way to do like a cocktail bar dasher is, you know, those little like small bottles of seltzer, take the label off them and then buy the little dasher caps. They actually fit on there and you can have like fancy cocktail dashers at home for like $5.
Pro tip.
I did a little test at home. Garrett's influencing me and getting me more geeky. So I tried both of these.
Sorry.
You get more than twice as much out of this bottle. So that's why my recipe specifies 2 to 4 dashes. 2 dashes if you're using this, 4 dashes if you're using this. So that gives you kind of an equilibrium there.
Okay, to make it interesting, why don't you do it out of that?
There we
I'll
go.
do it out of this. That'll be the big change, the big difference between the drinks.
Okay. So you're doing 4 dashes. I'm doing 2.
Okay, I'm doing 4. Am I doing that right, Garret?
Yeah, like 1 push is 1 dash. Yeah.
All right. There we go.
One last ingredient is a little bit of club soda. I just use 3/4 of an ounce. I'm not sure specifically the Mai Kai uses it. I believe they do. It gives it a little bit of fizziness and effervescence.
So my question for you, my question for you is when I do soda water, I put it in the glass first, and then I pour the drink in on top of it, because then it doesn't defizz. Is that a thing?
Okay, so if you're doing something like a more non-crushed ice drink, like a Collins or something, or El Diablo, what I'll do is I'll shake the drink, strain it into the small tin, then add the soda to the tin, and then pour it over the ice. When you're flash blending, you could put the soda in the tin and flash blend, or you could do it after. After the bubbles are probably going to be a little bit better.
Okay.
Depends on how bubbly you want it.
I just know that like all of the things that he does are like very small things that make big differences. And I think that's like the big thing with tiki cocktails. It's like when you like the measurements all matter. And when you see somebody free pour something, it gets squirrely.
How much club soda does he have to do?
3/4 of an
Oh,
ounce.
All right.
sorry.
No, all good.
Where's Sparky? He'd drink that. Okay.
So now we're ready for the ice. And I've adjusted the recipe a little bit on this in this regard too. Again, inspired by Garret.
so
One of Garrett's great tips.
This is a bucket full of water.
You see a lot of recipes that say pulse blend with 1 to 2 cups of crushed ice, pour into a mug, top with more crushed ice. And what I've learned from Garret is topping with more crushed ice is kind of counterproductive.
Kills the foam,
Right.
and foam is awesome, especially on cocktails, because normally it's beer that only gets that in the bar. And I think the reason you see a lot of tiki drinks in mugs is because they're not flash blending properly. If you put it in a glass, it's gorgeous, has layers of foam and different ice. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
This is getting heavy.
Sorry. All right, here, you can put it down.
So what I discovered with the barrel, there's a lot of ice in this drink. So I've played around with it. What I've discovered is we're going to blend it with 1 cup of ice, but we're also going to put 1.5 cups in the barrel. So we won't have to top it with any more ice.
Okay.
You don't want to be blending with 2.5 cups. That's just too much ice to blend.
All right.
Okay, now what?
So another Garret Richards tip, pulse blend for 5 seconds.
Oh, I've heard 8 seconds in the past. What's the deal with the 5 seconds? I mean, it's like a couple seconds.
Well, if you do it correct, you can do it for 5, so.
And it just so happens the Mai Kai does it in 5. I've been there and I've heard Karn say 5 seconds. That's what they do.
I don't know who he was insulting, but the gauntlet's been thrown down right there. Go.
Gentlemen first.
Oh, you want me? All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Dude. Oh.
No, also. Oh, man, yeah. I was gonna say.
So sometimes when you flash blend, you can actually give it a second to settle, like almost like a beer, and then pour a little bit of the left.
Oh.
But I will say that was a cool move, just drinking out of the tin like that.
I'm in a band.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 2 rum barrels.
I've done this before.
Yes, you have.
We have a couple Mai Kai swizzles.
Oh,
We have a Hukilau swizzle.
and how do they garnish this at the Mai Kai?
Mai Kai has no garnish.
No garnish.
They use these are actually Mai Kai straws that I was given before they closed. Old school straws. And if you recall, they come to your table like so.
Oh.
With the,
I just ruined mine then. Like In-N-Out Burger.
right. So when you get your barrel at the Mai Kai, it comes to you by a nice young lady in a sarong in this mug.
Now, do you think that it would benefit with some mint?
I don't think it's necessary.
What is your opinion on mint? Like, you got an opinion on mint?
In certain drinks, it's great. I think the Mai Kai uses it minimally. They don't use a lot of mint, but Garret might have a thought.
Yeah, I think as mint sits in a drink, it sort of changes the flavor. So depends on what your barrel is. But I would say with the Mai Kai rum barrel, it's very citrusy. I think it's all about the citrus and the honey. So I don't know if it necessarily would add a lot.
In your opinion, is there a correct amount of mint?
I mean, we are probably way more generous at Sunken Harbor than we should be economically speaking.
You're damn right
yeah,
you are.
Yeah, it should look good.
Don't skimp the mint,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
All right.
So do you want Garret to taste these?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here we go.
There's the drink I just made.
Well, here, you take, make sure.
Check your work, and then let's.
Well, we're all gonna share the same straw.
All right, fine.
Well, I mean, I don't care, dude. Really.
Do we have more straws? That's the question.
Tastes like a rum barrel.
It tastes like the Molokai, so.
Okay. Now try this one.
Tastes like the Breezeway.
Oh my God.
He nailed it.
I want to thank Hurricane Hayward and Garret here for joining us on Spike's Breezeway Cocktail Hour. And it's been a fun show. I want to talk just a little bit longer with Garret here. Hurricane Hayward, thank you so much for all of the work that you've done. Where are you going with that rum barrel?
Well, I was going to offer some the folks out there a taste. Do you want?
Oh.
So sad.
Yeah,
Or do
go-
you want yours?
Can I have just like a little
He
bit in
put
here?
so much work in it.
I don't know.
I actually will say, I don't know if it was just the weird, like, us stopping and starting. I would say yours is like a hair tartar.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Some people
There
like
is-
that.
There is a small difference between the two.
Okay. I just want to talk a minute with Garret here about his book, Tropical Standard, right? Is that what it's
Yeah.
called? Okay? I'm very good at ruining things or screwing things up. You guys have the book? So there are people out there in internet land who would benefit from buying this book. Your approach to cocktails gets really nuanced.
Yes, yeah, the devil is in the details of a lot of these drinks,
Right.
for sure. But I think sometimes like small little changes at home can really help, you know, even just basic cocktails, like adding salt, knowing how to use this properly, knowing how to use the blender properly. And, you know, we have all these sorts of little hacks that I think can up your game really quickly. And then there's a lot of stuff that's more challenging, like let's say like making a limoncello or doing falernum from scratch. Like that's also in there. So
Right.
There's very easy like new stuff to handle, and then there's like more intermediate and harder stuff.
The biggest thing that I've learned, not only from Garret, but just before Garret, I went to a place called the Blind Rabbit in Anaheim, California. Incredible cocktail bar. The guy made me a daiquiri. What was the rum? I told you yesterday.
Oh, Florida Cognac, yes.
Yes, Florida Cognac.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the best daiquiri I've ever had. And I watched him make it, and it was like, he did this. And I was like, what is that? He was like, he sprinkled magic into the drink. But the magic actually was salt. So in his book, he talks about like the importance of a saline solution. And that sounds really complicated, but it's just salt and water, right?
It's salt and water, yeah. But if y'all have never tried, you know, adding a little salt to your cocktail, try with a daiquiri. Make one without salt and one with, and you'll see it's a big difference. Also, talking about the daiquiri in the book, we teach you how to use raw sugar in a daiquiri versus syrup. Sometimes you have lighter rums that are not that high in alcohol, and adding a bunch of water, aka syrup, is going to knock the proof down. And we show you how a simple milk frother at home, you can melt lime juice into sugar, and you can have a super old school Cuban style daiquiri that's nice and crisp, not too sweet. Yeah, Tropical Standard's a lot of that. It's a lot of, you know, 1 foot in the future, 1 foot in the past.
So buy the book if you haven't already. It's really, really, it's really invaluable. It's so good. Invaluable means super valuable.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to again thank Hurricane Hayward, Garret Richard, the Hukilau, High Tide Recordings, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you don't hit the subscribe button,
well then just follow me on Instagram at Garret J. Richard.
ladies and gentlemen,
give it up for Spike, sweating on the stage here.
Oh, thank you. Cheers, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, the Swingin' Palms. I forgot one thing. Let's go.
Root beer has sarsaparilla. And Garret, hey, what's up?
What do you think about corks?
I like corks, but I also like screw tops. The problem with corks is if you're buying vintage spirits, it's the first thing that's going to ruin vintage spirits. So there is that. Glass caps are the devil, though. So, yeah.
I have a cork collection. I'll show it to you sometime.